Hey everyone, it's Brennan. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another video. Today we are wrapping up all the books that I read in March. March was such a good reading month for me, which is fun because it was also my birthday month, and I read 12 books. 12 books in March. I think since I've started reading regularly, that's the most books I've ever read in a month. Super exciting. Without further ado, we will just get into this list. The first book I finished in March was the February Sugar and Spice book club pick. This is The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This is a rom-commy romance following two people who work in radio. Our female character has worked at this radio station for the last 10 years of her life, and then our male love interest is like a new, fresh out of his master's program reporter, journalist, who just started working for this radio show. It's like public radio. And when their radio station is kind of in trouble, like just looking for ways to get more listeners, they come up with the idea to pretend to be exes because they already kind of have this like enemy, a little bit of like a hostile dynamic, and they decide to do this dating show, The X Talk. This was like okay. I gave this 3 stars. I didn't have a bad time when I was reading it, but I didn't love it. What didn't I like about it? I didn't really like our characters that much. They were a little bit annoying to me. I will say this has a really good theme of grief. Our female character, her dad died when she was like 17 or so, and I actually felt like her mom as a character was a lot more interesting than she was. But yeah, our female character, I just didn't love her. I thought her problems were very much self-inflicted, and her best friend in this was not a good character for me. Like, I did not believe their friendship. This does have a few pretty steamy scenes, but was not a favorite of the month. The next book I read, I should say I'm just going in chronological order here. The next book I read was also not a favorite, and that was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I also gave this book 3 stars. I talked about this book more in a vlog that I just recently uploaded, so by the time you see this, that vlog will already be up, so check it out. It's my Pisces reading vlog, and I read this because it is advertised as a devastating romance, a devastating love story. It's not a romance. It just has a romance in it, but it's a devastating one. This follows Achilles and his lover Patroclus. We follow them in their boyhood, like as they're growing up, and then we also follow them during the Trojan War. I liked the historical Greek mythology aspects of this, but I did not like our characters. Did not like them. Achilles is kind of like naive and then like really self-absorbed, and then Patroclus is also kind of naive. Okay, Greek mythological characters can just be quite naive. That's just a thing, but like I said, watch my vlog if you want a little bit more on this, but I didn't love it. But just wait. Just wait. We will talk more about Madeline Miller presently. The next book I finished in March was Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. I also have a vlog reading this. It's my birthday vlog, so check it out. This is a historical pirate romance. It's also very dark. Is this indie? This might be an indie romance. Comment below if you know. I'm not sure. So I gave this book 3.5, 4 stars, only because like I only knocked stars off because it was long. It was 460 pages, which, you know, when you get into like longer books, that's not super long, but for a standalone romance, it was a little too long. I might could have even like passed the time in this if it was more focused on the relationships, but our female character, Bennett, she had such problems. Like, she would just hop into one sticky situation to another sticky situation, and saying sticky situation is putting it so lightly. Triggers for sexual assault and rape and just very dark things happen in this book. Oh, also like polyamory is a thing too in this book. So there are your warnings for very specific things in books that you might not like or that you might love. I enjoyed it, like I had a good time reading it, but I was ready for it to end when we got to the end. I was happy with the ending. It was just a little long. Oh, if you like Outlander, you'll probably like this book. And the next book I finished, I also have in my birthday vlog. I'll link all these videos below. This is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. This is an age gap forbidden romance between a girl and her boyfriend's dad. What can I say? If you know anything about Penelope Douglas, you know that this book is steamy. It's a little dark. It's not like super dark though. She does a really good job making us want these characters to be together, and I really enjoyed this. But as far as Penelope Douglas books go, this isn't like being memorable for me. Punk 57, I lived for that book when I read it, and it could be because it was like the first indie romance that I read, and I enjoyed Birthday Girl. I gave it 4 stars. I don't know, I'm just like not thinking about it that much, but it was still good. If you like Kindle Unlimited romances, pick it up. The next book I finished in March was What Doesn't Kill Us. It has a long like subtitle to it by Scott Carney. This is nonfiction. This is like talking about, honestly, it's a book about Wim Hof, basically, the Iceman, and his breathing technique and different things that different people do with this breathing technique, and just some metabolic stuff. Suffice it to say that this is a kind of sciencey book by a journalist who is trying a breathing method, and then he climbs Mount Kilimanjaro, I think it is. Yeah, enjoyed it. I listened to this. It was good. It made me go on one run. The next book I read in March was The Pisces by Melissa Broder. This is in my Pisces video that I will link below. This is I don't know if you would call this a romance. It follows a girl named Lucy after she has broken up with her long-term boyfriend, and Lucy is like this free-spirited PhD student who doesn't really believe in her dissertation. She's having an existential crisis basically after this breakup, and just in general, like Lucy is just, she thinks a lot. She thinks a lot, she's in her head a lot, and we are in her head a lot in this book. This book is weird. Melissa Broder has really icky ways of describing just like normal things, but they're from the mind of our main character who is having a hard time and who's trying to figure things out. And there is a merman in this, and also there is talk of depression and suicide. She's in like a therapy group in this, which I really enjoyed, with other women who are addicted to romance. Yeah, this is good, but like low-key dark and like high-key really funny. But like, I don't know who I would recommend this to, but it has really low Goodreads ratings. I'll end it with that. It has like a 3.2 on Goodreads. The next book I finished was The Project by Courtney Summers. This is a young adult thriller. I don't know what makes things young adult, what makes things new adult. I wouldn't call this adult. Like, it's not super, super, super dark. It has some like cult and sexual abuse vibes. Anyway, Courtney Summers wrote Sadie. I haven't read Sadie. I heard it's good. This book, The Project, this is so funny because Amanda, my friend from Ginger Snapped Reads, she loved this book, gave it 5 stars, loved it. And then my friend Kirsten from Kirsten's Corner hated this book, has already said this is her least favorite book so far of the year. I thought it was okay. I gave it 3.75 stars. I listened to this on audio. Maybe I wouldn't have read it so fast if I was like physically reading it. But I had a good time listening to the audio. Like, I was entertained. This is a thriller following our main character. Her name is Lo, and when she was like 13, she and her parents were in a car accident that killed them, and she was like very injured from it. And her older sister, B, who was not in the car accident, kind of gets wrapped up in a cult while she's dealing with the stress and grief from this situation. And then after Lo gets out of the hospital, she never sees her sister again. And now she's like 19 and working for this magazine, newspaper company, business. She wants to write, but she has no business writing. Like, she has not done anything in her life besides be a secretary at this magazine. And now she's like, I'm ready to bust this cult. Which was a little weird. And then she was like mad that everyone wasn't taking her seriously, but I'm like, this isn't your job, and you're so personally tied up in this, like, you're not being professional. But I was still entertained. Didn't love our main character, didn't really like any of our characters. I mean, several of them were not supposed to be likable. I don't really want to say much. This is a thriller, and give it a read if you're interested, but also there may be better cult thrillers out there. The next book I read, another Pisces video book, was Normal People by Sally Rooney. I loved this book. I gave this 4.5. Maybe I should go back and give it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. This is a TV show now, so like, it's pretty popular. The book has like subpar ratings, and I think it's because if you go into this like looking for a romance. Like, yeah, there's a romance in it, but it's painful and unsatisfying. But I kind of went into it knowing that, so I enjoyed it and had a good time. This follows our two main characters, Connell and Marianne, and we start following them when they are in their last year of high school, and then we follow their on and off relationship. They never like define terms with each other, but we follow them until probably they're getting ready to finish up college. It's just them like being depressed and dealing with their depression, but also doing a really bad job of talking to each other. That makes this book sound terrible, but let me tell you, I had a really good time, okay? It's also really short. It's a short book. I think it's less than 300 pages, and I liked it. I know like my description of it does not make it sound good, but I liked it. I love being inside the heads of people who think a lot and might be a little depressed or a lot depressed. Also talk of suicide in this book as well, and eating disorders and verbal abuse. I guess I like books that deal with hard topics. I don't know. The next book I read was Circe by Madeline Miller. I loved this book. I gave this book 5 stars. This is another Greek retelling of Circe. She's a witch. It's so fun. So Circe's the daughter of Helios and this like sea nymph, Perseus? I don't know. There's a lot of names obviously in Greek mythology, but Circe is like the outcast of her family. Like she doesn't really get wrapped up in the plots and the brooding of the gods and the titans and the giants and all those different subsections of Greek mythology. But she is immortal, and she kind of gets exiled from her family, and she lives on an island as a witch who does stuff with nature. And obviously, I don't know if you can like see all my plants I have around here. Maybe I'll just like, can I show you? I'm a plant person, and I related with Circe's nature aspects. And we follow her on her island. I mean, she like leaves it some, but she just like meets different people, and there are some love stories in this, but she is an immortal being, and you just follow her for several hundred years, like I don't know, 1,000 years or so, and just different things that she does and different relationships that she has. I don't tend to cry too much in books. There were like a solid 20 seconds when this book was ending that I just like uncontrollably sobbed. It was so good. Definitely one of my favorite books of the year so far. The next book I read was Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the second book in her Brown Sisters trilogy, and this follows Dani, who is Chloe from the first book's younger sister. She's a PhD student, and her love interest is a security guard on her campus. His name is Zephyr. So let's talk about the problems, because we know that romances, each of our characters has some problems. Dani's problem is that she loves her work, and she has trouble having relationships with people because she feels like people expect too much from her, and that she just disappoints everyone because she just enjoys her job and her research that she does. So Dani just wants to have like casual relationships where she doesn't have to put a lot of effort into maintaining a relationship, into the maintenance and gestures that go with relationships. And then Zephyr is a romantic. He like listens to romance novels at his desk, at his security guard desk. But his baggage that he brings into the relationship is that his dad and brother died in a car accident, and at baseline Zaf already has anxiety, so he just deals with grief and anxiety, and they talk about it a lot, and it's really cute and good. I love this. I gave this 4.5, rounded up to 5 stars on Goodreads. It's steamy. Dani like does witchy universe stuff, and she also likes plants. And they do some fake dating after this video of them on campus goes viral. And they do some fake dating after it to bring publicity to this nonprofit that Zaf works with. And this is just really cute, like I said, and really good. These next 2 books I won't talk too much about because, again, they're in a vlog that I'll link below. But I read my first book of poetry, and that was Swimming Lessons by Lily Reinhardt. This was like okay. I don't really know like how to read poetry. I gave this 3 stars. This is obviously poems from her breaking up with Cole Sprouse. So like, it was just like too much on a topic that I can't really relate to at this point in my life. Maybe if you have recently gone through a breakup and are angry, you'll like this book. And then this nice little book is just a book about being a Pisces and the art of living well and finding happiness according to your star sign. Don't laugh at me, I read this for a video, but also I think astrology is interesting. This talks about being a Pisces and your strengths, like being very empathetic and introspective and kind of like in tune with your emotions. And then your weaknesses, like maybe having trouble communicating difficult things to people and being kind of gullible and things like that. Yeah, this was cute. I mean, a little book. But those were the 12 books that I read in March. It was an excellent reading month. I will have all the vlogs that I did this month linked below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Let me know what your favorite book of March was. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one.